At SteelSeries, we make the headsets, mice and keyboards that the world's best gamers win the most with. And we've been doing it since way back. It's up to you how far you go, but whatever you do, go for glory.
It is the last day of the first half of the split of summer 2024. There's a lot to be said today. The last day and the last matches before the teams go into revenge mode. It is a spicy day because no one knows who's going to play on the first place. But spicier than this desk? I don't think so. So let's introduce veteran and Rudu to the show. Welcome, let's talk about what is happening. How you folks feeling?
Oh, I am so ready for today, by the way, Arsharam. The five-way tie at the top of the table going into the end of the first day. Again, NLC last split, we went into the final weekend. We didn't know which 4 teams were going to make playoffs. We didn't know which 2 teams were going to be in the bottom. And we just keep delivering. Summer, I didn't think could be any closer, yet we go into day 7. 5 teams have 4 wins and 2 losses.
Communicate with us, birds.
I mean, Okay, so obviously the league is extremely entertaining when we have everybody being this close to each other. I think DMG has been a really big, outstanding moment of the split. They've made the table interesting by being able to perform in a league with extremely strong past performers that have kind of redone themselves, past really good performers that have come back in. I'm trying to balance the bird while talking about all of this. It's bear with me a bit here. I agree with Rudid. If you want entertainment right now, the NLC is absolutely the place to be. You don't really know who's going to win, except for me, as per usual, at the top of the standings, along with Initialized right now. So it's more like a you problem, but it's still very entertaining nonetheless.
It's a skill issue for those who are missing predictions, apparently. Talking about missing predictions, let's talk to the both. Like, we have no idea what they're doing in predictions. Hey, Hipfred. Hey, Fox. How you doing?
What are you trying to say, bro? What?
I mean, I accept this. I'm right at the bottom here. I'm struggling, so I can't say anything.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, that is.
I don't know, bro. I don't know what to say about. I'm a little lost for words. I'm getting slammed by a guy who's got a camera that's 480p. What's that?
I agree 100%. I bought this 2 weeks ago, and it said on the case 4K. I don't know where the remaining 3K wins, but
bro. You were scammed. What happened?
I don't know. It's not a Steel Cities. That's all I know. That's all I know. I need a Steel Cities one. Painful. Well, let's toss it back to the desk. Thank you for bowling.
I mean, the theme for the NLC so far this split has just been bully the rest of the talent team. Now, Duckling had been getting this for the majority of the season anyway, so that wasn't really any different. But I'm glad that we've been able to extend, to branch out to a 480p camera, to, you know, put awful predictions. And Foxdrop, shout out to him, just holding the L. Bottom of the table, no excuses. He just says he sucks.
You know what? I like that we're sharing the weight. Where's Middlecott?
I can go bring him in if we need.
Nah, I saw the picture. Don't do it.
The NLC's not ready for the picture of Middlecott, you're right.
It is not. Something is new, but also something is important to bring up into this broadcast. It is the schedule. So you need to see the standings for today.
Beautiful,
with Ruddy, Venom Crest, Nord, LLS, and DMG. They're all sharing the first place. Everything can change today, but I don't think it will.
So, I don't remember who it was that came up with this Omega cope last weekend, or last week, that said that Verdant and Natives in this situation are effectively second because they have the second best score. That was a little crazy to me, and I need to call that out first of all. They need to hold their
wrong,
6th place
though?
above their head. Yes!
What if
Very
they win
wrong.
2 games this week?
I mean, for me, the thing with every single one of those teams, right, is that even if they are all really close like this, every team has some strong individual player that can be that big playmaker, game for game for game, right? So when I see them all this close, I see the individual talent of the NLC. It's actually really extremely close to each other right now. And then there's Blue Whites.
And what
We
I
were
would
going
say
to talk
as
about
well,
that. Yeah, tell me, Reddit.
I was looking at the table, and obviously you've got natives who are down at 2 and 4. What I was expecting, looking at their wins, was that they probably just cashed in on blue whites, got their win against Verdant as well. And yes, they've got the blue whites win, but their second win doesn't come versus Verdant. Actually, up against Venomcrest, who is one of our 4 and 2 teams, right? There's all in the 4 and 2 teams. There's that rogue loss that you're just not expecting. So it's one of those little situations that even natives who are a little bit lower down have got that potential to take games off the better teams.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only way you can end up. Sorry, that's just the only way that you can end up with the kind of standings like this, right? Because it's never really like you have Block A and then Block B, like the winners one and then the losers one. You have this interlinking set of he's beating him and he's beating him, but he's beating him and he's beating him, and then there's a rock, paper, scissors that makes no sense because we dragged it out towards 8 teams. That's the scenario we're looking at right now. That's why every single game matters, because there's going to be a playoffs run at some point, and we could be in the last week again, the classic NLC special, not even knowing really who's going to playoffs.
Yeah, tiebreaker could be like a 10-game series of what's happening. Nobody will know.
No.
But I think nobody's no longer allowed to come into interviews and say, we're still adapting. That is over.
True.
I think, that
True.
time is over. No more.
Done.
Is
You
that
know
like
what?
the red
Those
card?
What?
Red card, just no more interviewing for you. If you say
the
that, you
bird
get
will
immediately
step
struck
in and
off.
slap. The
Yeah,
Twitter will
okay.
slap. But also, if you're keen to understand who those key players are that Veteran was talking about, might as well show you for the Fantasy League. So if you're playing that, well, you're doing a good job. If you're not, you need to sign up. So these are the top 5 players that stood out on the previous week. You see some relevance in players that belong to a specific team, but other ones are stepping up as well. And the chaos that Veteran was talking about is showcased more and more often. If you don't know what is the Fantasy League, well, might as well go onto Twitter, sign up for that one, because if you win at the end of the show, at the end of the split itself, you get yourself these amazing prizes. There's no webcam, by the way. I need one, but you can win one of those 3. I know.
I mean, you're the reason there is no webcam, Arsham. They're clearly taking the one best webcam they've got ready to send out to you. Maybe playoffs ready. We'll see brand new Arsham in 4K, high quality. I can only tell
paid
you.
so much for this. This is not legal. I've been robbed.
One player. So, I mean, speaking of inconsistent quality, one player I do want to highlight there is Nata, right? Because Nata historically has been a King of Spring player, right? He starts really, really well, can have a really strong. He actually won an NLC split before in the past, and then typically, many things happen, there's some inside baseball with it, but summer is typically not it for him. But this does make him a one-split wonder, and he's doing his one split now in summer, in a late EMEA Masters run, in going through to that off-season everyone really cares about, the one going into 2025 between years. This could be the optimal kind of setup for Nata here to be that wonder boy. He's performing really well so far. Hopefully he can maintain it as long as he usually does, because if they go into EMEA Masters, he could be going for a longer run than he's used to. For me, the question is, could he crash out before that point? Because we're unused. It's new to see him being that summer guy. He's usually the spring guy. So see if it's a one split thing or a seasonal thing, or maybe it's just a new consistent version of Nata.
And his challenge for today is quite hard. Might as well look into the schedule so you understand. He's going to be playing at the last game versus Nord, but starting up with Natives versus DMG, followed up by LLS and Venomcrest. That is going to be the match of the day. Verdant will take on Blue Whites. This is going to be a spicy one. We'll talk about that further on. And as we were talking about, the two teams that said, well, we're going to get first place regardless. Ruddy versus Nord. But that's the last game.
Yeah.
Hold on to your horses. That's dessert, okay? Let's start talking about something which, tell me, Veteran, you have your hands raised up.
No. Well, wherever subject you want to talk about, I'm down. I'm
going to hop in. I'm going to take
Do
it.
it.
The conception that the Blue Whites versus Verdant game is going to be spicy. Arsharam, I think we were having some discussions backstage. Spicy is a word in the sense that it is going to explode on the rift. The potential for a 50-kill game in 20 minutes was your exact words to me for the level of kills, action that we're going to be expecting to see. So I'm going to be holding you to that first of all. It's a hidden prediction point that's on the cards for you. But the expectation with these two teams looking a little weaker in the relative to the standings is that we could be in for some fisticuffs of some sorts.
And in fairness to Archeron, even if we aren't, Verdant have been the guys bringing out the really creative drafts. Like, from Ruddy, we like their drafts because they're generally just ridiculously difficult rock-like formations to do anything into. But with Verdant, they're like, I feel like doing Nasus mid today. Nasus bot today, I mean. How are we all feeling about that, right? And they're like, why not?
You've never had a
just
better
why
idea
not?
in your life,
You know?
actually.
Yeah, just like,
I'm so on board.
it's just like, I love it, man. I love it. Brilliant. Like, he's my favorite range champ in the game.
I played Teemo. Can we do it? Well, we're going to do it anyway. I love that idea. And it's going to be spicy. That is the word that I brought it up. I don't know the result. But I know predictions are wild as well. Somehow Foxtrot will surprise us, even though... Let me see. What is he? What is he?
Last game of the day.
Wow, the $5 on Nord is the big
Yeah.
call. That's the big call from Foxtrot. Honestly, anybody putting a $5 on that last game, they're gambling some big points.
Hip right.
Well, I mean, Hip Brain, yeah, but like Hip Brain is currently at the bottom of the standings, right? So that makes a bit of... Actually, no, it's not. I'm sorry. I don't want to take that crown away from the king of losing middle call. But Hip Brain does need to try to make some ground, right? So it makes sense he does blue whites. But the $5 on Ruddy versus the $5 on Nord, we've paired these guys together. They're casting that game together. That's
There
going
will
to be
be
a
no
spicy
bias.
cast.
No
Oh
bias
my
on that cast whatsoever.
I'm going to love watching that.
Well, in order to do that, this is the last day of the first half of the split, and we need to talk about the importance of these matches of today. I wanted to highlight a few specific teams and understand where they are, how they're playing, and how can they move forward. We talk about the entire pack, not the middle, not the top, not even like the second place, which is a weird second place as you brought up, Rudude. I want to start by natives. I need to understand what is happening because they need to start winning. And with that in mind, I need to understand the champion pool as well. Veteran and Rudu, do you have a lot of knowledge inside of the game? This is a weird champion pool that they brought up.
They... Honestly, the fact that they found
Should
a
be
win
something on your screen.
last week versus Natives versus Venom Crest is the big deal for me, because going into last week I was thinking, okay, it's blue whites, then it's natives, and then we've probably got the rest of the pack. Maybe Verdant can make a bit of a challenge with Errol coming back in. But they took a game off of Venom Crest, a team who were looking very, very strong going into last week, and all of a sudden you have to start considering whether natives have got that little bit of sauce in them to maybe start pushing into that playoff pack as well. The champion pools that you've talked about for Arsharam and for natives, excuse me.
There we go. Hey!
There we are. Vamonos. Yeah, Painful's the leader of that for me. I love that we're seeing things like Zed and Yone, obviously Alex on Ruddy, no exception, but there's a good couple bits here that natives are happy to throw out.
You have everything.
Yeah, sorry. You go on. You go on.
No. I want to hear you because this has everything.
Skirmishing. This is a skirmish-heavy champion pool that I am looking at here. This is a team that wants to fight, that wants to take the fight to you, that wants to force on these objectives. Because when I see Trist, when I see Yone, when I see Zed, I'm thinking about those angles. When I see that jungle pool of Xin Zhao, Rek'Sai, I see Duelists. I see 2v2, 3v3, everyone on the map all the time. Explosion to explosion to explosion. The whole place is a battlefield. This is an active team, and they want to actively take the fight to you, and they want to win those fights. Venom Crest, that's very similar to the style that they were doing before. So it makes sense that that clash was actually so strong and so like that actually became a bit of an upset for everyone involved and a bit of a question mark. But they were essentially taking that style to the kings of them in total, right?
Yeah.
So when you look into this team, what is the play style you would brought up?
Yeah, I mean, it really just seems skirmish oriented. I think that one of the leading catalysts for that is Ball, their support. Has an exceptional rel. Even in week one, his rel was looking really good. Even when they weren't finding wins, it was just solid performance. Last week, we got to see the rel find the win, like I say, up against Venom Crest. And whenever you're looking for engaged supports, you're looking for skirmishes like that, feels like Venom Crest falling victim to that, and that natives are really starting to come into their own with it.
And huge trust in that man in the mid lane, right? The guy who was that big playmaker for, or one of the rocks actually. There were two big playmakers on that Venom Quest lineup last time, but the rock on that last time was Painful himself. They did show with that Seraphine Ivan composition with Tristana mid that they were willing to put him in as the full-on carry. Still very fight heavy, still very skirmish heavy, but it was all about that man in the mid lane, right? And so that trust that they have in him, that's the thing that's going to be propelling them through if they are to get a win.
Well, that's the first team. The second one that I wanted to highlight is Light Side. I think this team has a lot, and this could be the team that could just steal away the first place or second place, but everybody is looking at Northern Brody. How do you feel about this?
So they've very quietly become an exceptional team. You take a look at the fantasy picks from earlier on. Their 2 solo laners were in there. Ruddy held the candle for it in week 2.
There we go. Hey!
Yeah, here we go. Obviously, Elijah, the top lane, was all top of fantasy. Fruity Fresh has been exceptional as well. Like, we just look at those statistics, you know, second, first, third, doing very high damage per minute. Nothing to snuff your nose at whatsoever. And quietly, like I mentioned, team that I think came into this regular season with very few expectations has emerged almost as one of our top teams.
As a Division 2, Division 3 aficionado, I was very excited to see if Fruity Fresh would be able to make stuff like the Aurelion Soul work. Because we didn't see that much of it in NLC 2, but we saw more of it than we saw literally anywhere else on the planet. And the fact that he was willing to bring it out, and that his mid lane was bringing out the complementary picks with it, it's like, okay, I am seeing a continuation of that NLC 2 system. I think it was Rich Gang they were with, of that NLC 2 system with Sumi and Fruity Fresh into NLC 1. It's proof that these NLC 2 teams that are developing have the ability to take it to the tier 1 teams. Lightside, they've silently been moving up, but this isn't a team that has just been formed like Venom Crest was. There are so many Venom Crest analogies here, sorry, but Venom Crest were our team last time around that just spawned into existence. This team didn't just spawn into existence. This is a system that had an entire split to develop in the NLC 2. It's proof of why that system matters so much, the NLC 2 system, and now the system that Lightside are playing in-game. This has been a long time coming, and I'm really glad to see it's been really successful. And keep up those picks, Slam Aurelion Soul.
Slam Aurelion Soul, play it bot lane. They know exactly what they're doing with it. I want to take the chance to highlight Sumi's champion pool. Mid lane, typically a role with mages filling it. Now I will give the caveat that this split has been very AD mid focused, and the meta has revolved around AD mid laners. But Sumi so far has played 1 Taliyah game, and that is his sum total of mages for the regular season. Opened up the split with a Tryndamere mid lane to just give you a sample of what this player is going to be going for. That's the type of the type of adverse drafts that you have to prepare for when you're playing up against Lightside. It's not something that I think has necessarily got them the super juice in drafts, and they've managed to come away with wins based solely off of it, because they know how to execute as well, and that's more of the problem.
And the Nazasmid, right? That was when I was thinking of the Nazas spot, the Nazasmid spawned into my head earlier. It was Sumi that brought out the Nazasmid, but these are really good complementary picks. AD champs in mid lane are a big deal right now. At tier 1 level in the LEC, we see Ezreal, Kai'Sa all of the time now. In mid lane, we've seen Tristana be a staple full season 14. But for these guys, it doesn't end there. It's a Tryndamere, as you said. It's a Nasus, as you said. This opens up mage bot lane for Fruity Fresh. So anything is a flex pick in these guys' hands. You can't adequately prepare for them enough, and if you do prepare for them, well, you can't be preparing for the second team you're going to be playing that week. So there's always an opportunity cost when you go against Lightside. How badly do you need to beat Lightside? And that will always be an advantage that they have, because they've played these matchups much more than any opponent that they could have played or could have prepared for.
You brought in something so important, the idea that this has been built for a long time.
Yes.
So it should work, and it's working. When you look into the other team that is specifically the same, Blue Whites, that had to step in from Division 2 to Division 1. They're going through some issues, and they also built something up. But as soon as Custom was brought in, things are taking a little bit, like, there's some difference. Obviously, success is still not there. You only played 2 games. But there's a difference. They're saying that they're finally feeling comfortable playing within the Rift.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's one thing to be able to import, like, the entire team, but that's not the same thing as importing the system. What you want to be doing is you want to be able to identify the actual core components that your team has been playing around, and that every other part of the team essentially works within, rather than commands. And for this team, they correctly identified it was mid AD carry. The whole team's done around that. For other teams, it could be, like with Venom Crest, it was actually, we talk about Painful Lob, it was actually support jungle, right? That they rolled over. You want the Venom Crest system, those are the 2 you need. They were able to build more players around that. They'll be able to do those roles better, because now they understand what they have, right? So do the other roles better, with that core remaining. Blue Whites didn't get the luxury of doing that because they had to jam in at the last minute. Now, with this guy, they've found the first guy that they can put into the pre-existing system that they had working and be like, okay, we know what we're dealing with, so let's optimize. And this is the first bit of optimization for Blue Whites. I'm really glad that they're feeling good about it because that puts them in the right direction. There's a working system in Blue Whites. They just have to optimize all the other pieces because that's the natural progression you should have going from tier 2 into tier 1. MDK obviously a really good example of that. The core of that was mid ADC support. The top jungle was always whatever for that system for years and years, right? So they could keep switching out.
So it seems like we're about to jump into the first game. We'll talk about the remaining team as soon as we jump into the game that they are going to be playing. I want to talk about Natives and DMG. Rudude, specifically, before we jump into the Champion Select, you told me that you wanted to highlight a specific part of DMG. We talked about Natives previously. So what is sticking up to you on DMG as we jump into Champion Select, apparently?
Well, now we've got the players here to make it even easier. Bucci, we've hyped up a lot, but I want to take this time to actually highlight Bitzer after a really solid week last week. Pulled out a really good couple of performances on carry junglers. You know, one of them, Karthus, Power Farms presses R, looked really, really solid. But that step up from Bitzer is what has made DMG look a lot more convincing as a core unit, because previously Bucci had been 1v9ing a game or two, Namex popped off on a game and kept the team winning, but with Bucci not needing to be the superstar top laner that we know that he can be, and having a few better roles, like Veteran was saying, the other pieces of the system starting to thrive as well, it gives DMG just that extra boost to how strong they can be.
And for me, like, I want to give a big shout out towards Snarby there, right? I actually think Snarby is one of the best, kind of like most impactful supports that I saw in NLC previously when he was back here on Domino Esports, if you remember that. We were casting him, and he was basically abandoning bot lane permanently, which is base. AD carries deserve less than nothing.
The Snarby special was base at level 2 and go mid.
Yeah,
just
it was
always.
But it was extremely effective, and the fact he was thinking about the game in those terms really early on. He was doing the macro version of the caps int until I get the mechanic correct, even if I go 0 and 22 thing, right? He was doing the macro, map-wide version of it, and I'm really glad to see that that development's been working out. And shout out to Nomics as well. I was watching a lot of his games over in, well, he's had a really good career with DMG so far. I did watch some of his games while he was over there with Bloodline, and he was always performing really well, especially on the Lucian there. So glad to see him being brought up as well, with Snarby who's being brought back.
Keep in mind, we're playing on patch 14.12. This will be our first day looking into that patch. A few changes appear, but not that relevant. Corki was a little bit tweaked, but he's still an awesome pick. To those who have been watching LEC, this is what can you expect. Ezreal has been sticking out a little bit more, so maybe we can see that one as well. Skarner now being picked from Natives. Well, they can close up the first half with what? Because there's a support on the other side. Do they match it?
Looks like they're going to opt into... Yeah, this is a flex, you're not wrong. But if they want to just take either... I mean, this is a triple flex in this case then, right? You have Sejuani that can go top jungle support. You have Skarner who can go top jungle as well. So you're giving away nothing on this blue side for the time being, which is pretty much what you're looking for in your first 3 picks. What you do have already, even without knowing what role they're going into, solid front line, solid DPS. As soon as this Tristana hits a couple of items, going to be dealing damage, and that front line is going to exist regardless.
You want confirmation on the full bot lane. The support itself is not the most important thing to be counterpicking for. Especially like for many metas we don't play full on lane bully bot lane. So we want your support pick to be able to counter the team identity or counter the full 2v2 bot lane, and they don't have the option to do either because that Corki could be flexing towards the Tristana in mid lane, or the Tristana itself could be flexed elsewhere as well. They want to know what they are matching the Corki with. They don't know that yet, so they're going to hold off on the support pick. The jungle blind is going to be a much better area to effectively blind, given that you are realistically blinding support.
And there's a lot of flex just throughout the draft as well. We talked about Natives, all of their options. So far, DMG as well have gone for a little bit of the same. Corki can go mid or bot. The Gragas can be slotted into the jungle if Bitzer wants it. Bucci, we've seen the Gragas from Bucci a few times as well. So there's a couple of options there for DMG. They've got the power of red sides. They've got the power to hold their cards close to their chest right up until the end of the draft, right up until Natives have revealed all of their picks. The obvious issue that they might run into is whether they think Skarner goes top or jungle. Same to be said for the Sejuani, but same sort of archetypes for what you would expect to try and play against it.
So Karthus with this last one. Oh,
yeah,
that's not going to be
the
picked.
span is really good. Yeah, I mean, the Karthus ban is definitely really good here. Corki is no longer that, like, AP-heavy champion that we were used to. Basically a mid-range AD assassin now, which makes the matchup in Tristana really interesting. If you ever mess up against Tristana now, you can't really get effective damage safely. You will get snowballed on perpetually. You can play it, but it's difficult. Equally, the Lilia makes a lot of sense here for DMG. Because of the aforementioned, right? The Corki is going to be able to function with the Lilia. It's not going to be full AP damage on top side. They do the Corki, so they save the Corki flex as well. They can go into last rotation of AD carry, deny knowledge of what the full bot lane is, and this leads to natives doing essentially a double flex, right? Both Tristana and Ezreal can go in the mid lane, and both Tristana and Ezreal can go in the bot lane. That Camille, though, you best believe it goes one place. Pantheon being hovered, I'd be really interested if that gets locked in.
That's a shout out.
This is the shout. Yeah, this is the Archeron special. This is like a little tip of the hat to our fair host, which is always respected.
I think Archeron looks a lot like Tryndamere, by the way. I wanted to bring this up when you pointed out the Tryndamere mid. Yeah, no, I think you could pull off a Tryndamere cosplay. I'll be honest.
I need to grow my hair again.
There you go.
How much stronger is your right arm than your left arm? Or are we not allowed to ask that on broadcast?
I mean,
ooh.
Gym wise, keep in mind Golden Penny is a sub, so there's a
move on! Quick!
Dodged.
Dodge the question. No, it's a valid point to bring up. Natives are playing with the substitute AD carry this time round. Golden Penny subbing in, so I think getting a little bit of comfort for them is something that will be valuable. Expect whichever of these ADs ends up going into Golden Penny's hands to be the one that they're more comfortable with.
This is a really good Jinx composition. You have the displacement, isolation, and burst that you need to get a reset composition going. Pretty much everyone there can just give their lives to the Jinx, and there's so much mixed damage there, you can't just itemize against that Jinx. Into a really good anti-Jinx comp. Leona is your ranged engage on towards that Jinx. Both Tristana and Ezreal can act as ranged DPS matches, and they're both high mobility champions. They're not easy to catch out and isolate to get that initial reset off. I will say Jinx comps are less viable now that Lethal Tempo is being removed from the game, and DK has probably been the team that suffered the most from that. But in this game, it's really down to execution. It's really down to skill. This is very winnable for both sides. They both have very good tools to both execute their composition and counter the other. So this is truly a case of may the best team win in one of the closest leagues in all the ERLs right now.
It's spicy. I think that's the word we're going to use throughout the remains of the
spicy.
day. It's
word of the day.
Spicy. It is. If you don't like it, well, give us a new one.
We're going to have to start making like curried lists in terms of like the spice level, right? Are we going straight in at Vindaloo? Are we starting on a corner?
No.
Like, what's
this
the spice level,
you
know?
Chicken tikka masala, something smooth. Right. There's some sauce into it. But about to talk about the sauce, might as well toss it to the casters. Fox drop in Hip Rain, who doesn't know how to cook.
Where do I go from that from toss, man? Like, what's your favorite sauce? What is your favorite sauce?
I mean, are we still talking spicy stuff?
Oh, no, just
like
sauce in general.
Sauce?
What sauce? What's your go-to? Don't say ketchup. Don't be that guy.
Like a ketchup, like a mayo, like a condiment, or like a...
Yeah, like a sauce, right? Like, I guess sauce isn't like pasta sauce isn't a condiment.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's just go
it's
condiment. We really should be talking about the game, but condiment first of all.
Ketchup. Can't go wrong with ketchup. It's versatile.
Solid.
What can I say?
It's very versatile. Anyway, I think we're getting ready to go into the game. Let's see who's gonna win this one. Right, enough about food, enough about grub. Let's see who's going to be a scrub this game. Natives versus DMG. DMG have been the team who have caused upset and have been maybe the biggest surprise team in the league this split so far, sitting tied with a bunch of teams at the top of the tables. I don't think anyone really expected this performance from DMG.
I agree. I thought DMG would be maybe, one of our weaker teams here in the NLC, but they have really, really surprised. And to be honest, it's not just that they've been winning, but I think the way they've been winning and just the performances they've been putting out has been really impressive, to be honest. I think Bucci has looked like one of our best top laners in the entire league, and I think across the board you can put a lot of praise to all these players, but I do want to put a bit of a highlight on Bitse as well. Like, I think as a jungler, he's been really solid. He's read the map really well. He's done some really good invades, and like his jungle pathing as a whole is really smart. So yeah, DMG, definitely a team that's been pleasantly surprising, and up against Natives here, a team who I would say kind of the opposite, right? Unpleasantly surprising us with struggling so far. So this is quite an important one for these teams to really solidify their identities here in the NLC.
I'm very glad to see Natives did get the read and just ban the Cassante from Bucci. Was surprised to see, you know, the fact that Skarner got through. I think Skarner's been the highest picked ban champion in the league. I think it's been banned pretty much every game. So it's surprising to see that Theoloris gets his hands on it, and it is very potent right now. So keep our eyes on how they're going to be able to handle this matchup on the top side of the map. Bucci, for the moment, though, has got the belly bops, though. It's just going to be able to get himself a bit of additional damage and pressure out to Theoloris. Theoloris picking up the boulder. Able to trade back out. But I expect top to be a little bit chill for a little while. I'm curious where we're going to see action. If we have a look at the jungle pathing right now, both started on the red side, so they'll be clearing in opposite directions from one another. So Bitsy will be top bottom side for any plays that could potentially go down, and Hybrash could potentially go up for a gank to get Theoloris snowballing ahead. But Skaterot so far having a bit of a hard time here versus Painful. Painful having some pretty solid trades versus him early.
Yeah, both of these mid laners are quite low here, which could draw the attention of these junglers. You would give the advantage, I guess, to a Sejuani in these ganks, but because it's Tristana who's, you know, Painful's one under the tower here, Bitsim might potentially look towards doing something there, but to be perfectly honest, like, there's no good gank set up. You know, Corki just jumps away. Sorry, Corki has no CC, and Tristana can just jump away, so good wards here, though, in the bottom side of the river to keep Painful safe, and I think this is what's really crucial when you're playing laners that have really good lane push or lane priority, and that tend to play under the enemy team's tower. You have to have vision to match that, because they're so vulnerable to getting ganked, to getting roamed on, just like that, right? Snubby easily could have blown Painful's flash, but the ward keeps him alive, so it's not just enough, you know, to push and to get that lane priority and to get that strength. You have to match up with the vision, and so far Natives have done really well with that.
Yeah, they really have. Still fairly early in the game. Obviously, first clears are now done. Crabs are going to be finished up, and junglers will be going for the reset. Neither really had an opportunity to make a play happen. Hybrish is on the top side of the map, but Bucci, fresh off a teleport, back to top lane, resets, grabs himself the tier, gets a full stock of health and mana. I think it's going to be very hard for him to really make a play, although we can see that Hybrish is potentially looking at jumping in on Skaterot. Skaterot has no flash. We'll have that Valkyrie available to him as he's getting jumped onto immediately. They do catch him with the Arctic Assault. Skaterot's under tower, pinned in place. They're getting the damage down, but Skaterot gets himself taken out for first blood. Painful goes down. 1 for 1 in a 1 versus 2. Skaterot can't be too disappointed with that one, and the waves walking towards him. He doesn't lose out all that hard there.
That's the big one right there, is the position of this minion wave. It's smart for Hybraj to be shoving this under the tower right now, so that he can try and get it under the turret and deny Skaterot what he can, but these death times early game are so short. I don't think Skaterot's going to miss too much at all, and you know, in a 2 versus 1, yes, you lose out on first blood, but you still trade kills, and you also get the Tristana flash. Not too bad at all. Bit of a fumble there, I would say, overall from Natives.
Yeah, real fumble. I think they went in just a tad too early. Skaterot could have maybe stepped a little bit further forwards, and one extra tower shot could have been saved that way. And that would have been all the difference maker. But Skaterot on this Corki actually got a cloth armor early, knowing that this is going to be quite a lot of trading, quite a lot of auto attacks coming in from Painful. So building to be able to sustain, or at least survive it with that fleet footwork and the armor. A little bit harder to find the picks off. As Dragon has now spawned up, and you can see immediately Natives actually collapsed in on it. Hybrish is able to get there. Snubby knows this is happening, hasn't got his jungler in the area. And what's really great about this is the instant collapse of Natives now means that Hybrish and maybe Bull can be in position to contest the grubs that will be spawning up in the next 15 seconds. So that's a really, really big one for them. Theoloris does lose a trade topside though, so he's going to have to go for a reset if they do want to contest these grubs.
You can see these solo laners already from DMG are starting to take over the game. Both Bucci and Skaterot a lot of pressure in their respective lanes. Low HP for natives here in top and in mid. So there should be a free grub take for Bitzo, who has already started up, and Hybridge knows this is happening. He's going to go for that mid gank instead. He's only level 5, no ulti. I don't think too much is happening here. Painful. Not going to jump in, which I do think would be a mistake. So going to play that one a little bit chill instead. This is the problem with the pre-6 Sejuani, but hold on, topside.
Loris has already used the Impale. Bucci has to flash away from the boulder getting thrown at him. We'll be able to shove the wave in, but Bucci, that was a pretty rough fight for him. Lost a lot of HP there, lost the flash. Did obviously throw that cast down.
Oh,
Actually, we see a rocket getting thrown out. Is it going to make a connection onto anyone? I do not believe so. Goes wide. And Bitsy just going to do a little bit of counter jungling. Does have to be careful though. He doesn't actually have a top laner to back him up if anyone checks.
That was a DMG Jinx rocket, obviously, and
yeah,
the only person on the top side of that map was his teammate Bucci. I'm not quite sure, like, well, yeah, I don't know. That was maybe a bit of a 3000 ping play. Yeah, not sure about that one. It's all right though. It's just a Jinx, so not a big deal. He resets anyway. That's almost halfway down on the cooldown anyway. Pretty even across the board here though so far in this game. Only 7 minutes in, but dead even across the goal totals. I'm quite interested to see, of course, with this the split of the objectives so far often gives us a bit of an indication as to what these teams are going to look to do when these objectives respawn. I wouldn't be too surprised to see DMG actually go into this like split dragon play, so you know, trying to contest this second dragon instead of letting 2 dragons go over to the side of natives, because there's not really too much value out of the grubs for these guys this game. Usually you want to pair grubs with a really strong split pusher, and I don't really think that DMG have that in their pocket. You never know with Bucci, of course, but as a Gragas, that shouldn't really be a thing.
I would say it's a bit of a denial. Tristana, famously one of the best tower takers in a game. You know, once you get that first item, you can walk up to the tower with the grubs and your E. You will cut through towers and plates will disappear very quickly. It's painful. So it's ultimately I think it was just a cross map because they knew the dragon had happened. So they knew that DMG had that natives had invested into the bottom side of the map. But it is also a bit of a denial pick for them. And those grubs, you know, if you can get those 6 grubs later, your ability to take the tower is massively accelerated off the back of that. So it's a pretty good buff regardless. So that'd be my argument for, you know, not being all that bad for them. But I would like to see them contest this next dragon. Even if it is just a Chemtech, kind of slow down the potential of a Dragon Soul win condition on the other side.
Yeah, you're definitely not wrong. A Tristana with 6 grubs would be something. But now that you've already got those 3, you know, my point is you can probably sacrifice and give these up.
Yes.
This next set of grubs. That is a big old trade though for Corki on a Tristana. Half health for basically nothing in return. That is painful. Whoops, if you excuse the pun, that one hurts.
Oh, hold on.
It looks like Bucci's in trouble now. No flash.
He does have the cast though. He's going to get caught out by the Impale. Sends Hybridge away, but he is locked down. Pinned in place with a Permafrost. Hybridge finds himself the kill. Nice and easy. That's very, very... bit of a misposition there from Bucci. I think he probably should have casted Fearloris and not the jungler coming in on him.
Yeah, I think that would have been probably the better thing. But you probably could have buffered the Gragas ulti with a Skarner ult, right? So that when you see the Gragas cast the ult, you cast Skarner ult, and then as you're flying back, you actually probably still would grab Gragas. He's not exactly the skinniest bloke on the Rift, is he? So that hitbox might still clip him. But yeah, either way, that is a nice little kill there to the top side of the map there for Hybridge. I think, to be honest, in the grand scheme of things, however, yes, it is a kill, but I don't think it really means too much.
No, they don't really net anything off that, do they?
They don't. Yeah, they didn't get anything from it, and getting a kill onto the Sejuani or the Skarner, either one, you know, it was the Sejuani in this case, but either way, like, the game's still going to play out exactly the way it was going to play out before that kill happened, you know, so... Yeah,
I do believe it gave natives the ability to move in and actually take these grubs, though. They've rotated their top side up, their bot side into top side. Going to be able to pick 3 grubs up in response. DMG were all on a reset across the map, so there was no contest available to them. And Bitsy's only just got back into their jungle, so they're going to be heading towards that dragon, but they're going to get contested. This is potentially going to be a bit of a brawl for it. The difference is Namex will be in the close area where Golden Penny will not. Golden Penny does obviously have that true shot barrage, and it looks like Natives are posturing for a potential contest here. You see Namex making his way over, Bull trying his best as Loris just jumps in, and the leash has already started from the side of DMG. Dragon will be resetting, as you can see that bar timing out, and it's like there's not really going to be too much of anything going on, just boulder tosses coming in from Loris on loop, and Golden Penny has made their way down. Teleport not available to Bucci, so I think DMG is just going to have to give up this Dragon, and that's going to be a second one into Native's pocket.
That's good stuff as well. All they had to do there while DMG were on Dragon was to buy time and scare DMG away, because Golden Penny was, whoa, Kidoki, that is going to be Jinx's Dragon. Okay, fair enough.
Wow.
Good steal there by Namex. That is a tough one to give over though by Highbridge. That's a
painful.
toughie. It's painful.
He's getting jumped onto. They're going to throw everything down. The Magnustorm. Snubby misses everything. He almost goes down. Skate Rock, one last tower shot. He's going to be able to survive with a sliver of health. The true shot barrage is coming in. Goes a little bit wide. Doesn't hit Snubby. Highbridge does have the ultimate. Is going to miss it on the Skate Rock. Skate Rock doesn't have flash. He's just trying to stay alive. Gets the Valk out. They get the stun down. Highbridge keeping the power on. Gets the permafrost off and secures himself the kill. But at what cost? Being run down by Bitsy. Misses the Q initially. Snubby coming in. They get the bowling ball. They get the lockdown. And there it is. Bitsy answers back. A 2-for-1.
Yeah, not too bad there at the end of the day. I think for DMG they'll be happy with that one. I'm not sure what Bitsy's part thing was a little bit strange there. I think he actually could have saved Skate Rock in that play. But it's all good. We pick one up at the end of the day. As you mentioned, a 2-for-1. So DMG, aside from losing that, well, they didn't lose rank, did they? Because Jinx stole it. So yeah, they're all good. They're chilling. It's not too bad right here. I think the scaling edge, both these teams definitely have things that will work for them as the game goes on, and it's kind of tough to call, because if you just look at the champ matchups, they're similar champs really as far as their archetype goes. Bucci now though, good flash to dodge that ulti. He is struggling in this lane here, bearing in mind this was picked into the Skarner. Can Snubby save him, salvage something from this lane?
Well, Bucci's very low, and the Skarner damage is very big. Has still got the flash, comes in, finds himself the kill. Snubby can't save the day here. The permafrost comes down, but in comes Bitsy, flashes forward, has the drowsy, puts them to sleep, and in they jump. That's Bitsy's kill. Bull's making his way over to try and save his jungler, trading out top laner for top laner. Oh, there's a lot of action. A lot of action already.
Goodness gracious, and it's all happening around the tanks in the top side of the map. Fair enough, fair play right there. Native's coming out on top of that one. Theoloris played that one very well, getting that kill early on to Bucci, who has been struggling here in this lane. As I mentioned, this Gragas was a counter pick, so to speak, into Skarner, or at least, you know, the Skarner was the blind. So you'd expect a little bit more pressure happening in the top side. He does still have some farm and stuff like that, and he is going for tankiness here, so he's not too bad. It's not the end of the world for DMG by any means, but certainly has been a pain point for them there. These solo lanes kind of struggling so far, and Natives have been getting the better side of it right now as far as the top and even a little bit in the mid lane goes here.
Yeah, they really have now. So Tower's going to get pushed onto Namex. Be able to pick this one up. Got those 3 grubs. The damage is going to be pretty high. Attack speed boots and the Kraken Slayer means they'll have enough pushing pressure off the back of that one. Bitsy's even prepping the waves, though. Namex doesn't even get half that wave, actually. They summon up the Rift Tower in the mid wave, though. Skate Rock, can he defend this? There's going to be a lot of damage going onto the tower. Going to be able to pick it up, but in comes Snarby on the flank. Golden Penny shifts away. The Magnustorm only lands onto Bull, but they do get the Solar Flare off. They're going to be able to land Bitsy's bowling ball onto one, but Bull's able to survive that. The cast comes down. Golden Penny gets out. Dragon for nothing, really. Natives able to escape that one.
Alright, that's the first tower in that mid lane going down for Natives. Beautiful stuff. Obviously mid lane's a very important tower to take, but DMG is going to answer in kind. 4 members strong pushing this down. There is a flank here for Theoloris though.
Yeah, he's coming in. Scorpion making his way forwards. Not going to be able to find an opportunity. Natives able to defend the tower, so they hold their own there. Namex a little bit low. Not particularly low, to be fair, actually. He's got 2/3 of his HP left. Being quite comfortable. Just wants to shove this wave out, and I don't know if the tower's really on the cards right now for the side of DMG. They're going to have to probably just take the reset, spend that gold, and then come back for this top lane tower. This mid and top lane tower when they can.
These towers are kind of low as well across the map. You can see that bot tier 1, that mid tier 1, even top as well. All these turrets are one push away, most likely, from being taken down. So a lot of freestanding gold available for both these teams. As we can see though, Namex now 1.5 items. Will be pretty strong soon. He has a lot of tools to his disposal. Veteran mentioned it on the desk. This is a good Jinx comp. You know, we can scatter people around, pick people out of position with things like the Gragas ulti, a lot of displacement. Also, you've got characters that can create space for you, whether that's tankiness or other threats on your team. So Jinx should be able to just like free fire a lot in this game, and this third dragon of the game going down here would be a big problem if Jinx hadn't stolen it.
Yeah, I was about to say that, right?
5 minutes ago.
That's a really, really big secure coming in. I mean, Namex has ult again, so if he pulls it
try,
off 2 times in a row, high price money to reconsider their role. That's not going to be the contest, though. Dragon is just secured. They are looking to potentially come in. Solar Flare lands onto Bucci. All of the CC. He just can't move. Belly bop onto the 2, but down he goes. Bucci looking a little bit lost off the Cassante. 0 and 3 right now. Really struggling, and it's an interesting counter pick to the Skarner, the Gragas. I prefer what we see over in regions like the LPL, like the Mordekaiser, as being the common answer to it. We are seeing a Sleep come in. They're going to get some damage down. The Magnet Storm, Fearloris being jumped onto. Namex putting some serious damage out. Bitsy secures the kill. Don't really have the wave to be able to hold anymore, so that tower's just going to take a little bit of poking and prodding, but Painful gets free time on the top side. Teleport's coming in from Bucci, though, so he should be able to defend this tower as well.
It's a shame to use your TP just to defend an inner turret like that, though. That is going to be on cooldown. I don't think there'll be too much going down that he'll need his teleport for. But you can see with Theoloris having his TP halfway up and Painful already having his TP available, there is that advantage now. 4 natives with the teleports, if they do wish to make some cross-map plays or just to collapse, I guess, in those situations there. Have to be aware of that one. If you're DMG, you're not going to have Bucci to save you if you are playing on the other side of the map, which also does make being in the bot side here a little bit risky, obviously with Baron available on the top side, as Bucci will not be able to join the fight, but it is still early days, so most likely Baron won't be on the cards just yet. DMG,
you're not wrong, but for DMG, they have a very quick, I mean, both teams have a pretty quick Baron. You've got double ADCs on both teams. You've also got the Bitsy Leandries build on the Leah, so you're going to be able to cut through that Baron very, very fast.
Yeah, as far as tanks go, Skarner's not too bad at it either with his percentage health damage. Here we go, here's a fight.
Painful's coming in. They're going to look to try and get some damage off onto him. Oh my word, Painful's health bar is just evaporating. He has to flash away. They thought they found the pick. They did not. That's
a tough one, jumping into melee range against a low-range champion like Corki with his Gatling gun, auto attacks, and obviously Lilia as well, spinning around with that helicopter wand of hers. It's a tough one. You do not want to be that close to them, and I don't think Painful realized Bitsy was there when he jumped in. Didn't get the reset in time either, so all's fair enough and more. Just going to be a flash away for Painful, flash use for Bitsy as well. Just trading those summoners. To be honest, it's been quite an even game so far. Thinking about things to talk about in this game and just, you know, things to look forward to and stuff in this one. But both teams have similar team comps, similar goals, similar objectives, and so far, similar skill of execution of those goals. There's not too much separating these two teams. You can see DMG, though, having control of the top side of the map might be something that they can leverage to an advantage if a face check comes through from natives, but there is actually a ward in that bush that DMG were just walking in, and without sweeping it, you know, there's no real threat here. Instead, they're just going to lose control. Yeah, it's all just handshakes, swings and roundabouts. It's
taking stock of the items is probably the really big thing to look at then, because Namex got himself the Hurricane, got the Kraken Slayer, slowly starting to come online with their items. Obviously, remember, Kraken Slayer, not a crit item anymore. So, only has that 25% crit from the Runen's Hurricane. But I'm assuming to see a Last Whisper, Lord Doms, or a Infinity Edge come in next for Namex. And that'll be a big spike to their damage once that third item comes online. But on the other side, Painful actually opting into a Vamp Scepter. So 900 gold detour for a bit of sustain as Snarby has to be a little bit careful. They're actually looking for Bitsy here. Namex going to try and get away. They miss the Impale as Namex now is going to get some damage off. Does miss the Zap. And he doesn't hurt Theoloris. So that might answer what the next item's going to be. I actually wouldn't be surprised to see a Lord Doms come in for Namex because he didn't tickle Theoloris through that shield. And yeah, there's the Last Whisper. No surprise.
Yeah, it should be. It should be. I mean, it's not just the Aloris, is it? You've got Sejuani and a Leona on the enemy team, so and double Aftershock. A lot of resistances. So it does make sense to get this Last Whisper for sure. And that is what's going to be coming through next. Still a little while until that's all completed, but still some armor pen in her pocket. Definitely won't go amiss. To be honest as well, it's not really her job to take down people like Tristana and Ez. As you know, you've got other people like the you know, Lilia, Corki, more the assassin style or diving style champions to deal with the squishies. All we got to do for Jinx is to get that reset on one of the tanks and then just wreak havoc in those team fights. This could be a big fight though. Natives do not want to give this one up for free. I don't think they have much choice though.
Yeah, Highbridge wasn't in the area, so it was pretty hard to go for it as Namex just gonna grab that vision, but still gonna need some money before the Lord Doms comes in. Remember, Lord Doms also buffed, gives a lot more armor pen ever since the item rework at the mid-season. So really high value now. I think it's like 40 armor pen or 40% armor. I can't actually remember.
It lost its Giant
damage.
Slayer passive.
It did lose its Giant Slayer passive, yes. But
Yeah.
I feel like the more armor pen is maybe higher value.
It honestly depends what people build, right? Because you've seen now like Warmog's first be like a really popular build, and like just look at the Rel has it, Leona has it, Sejuani has it.
Yeah.
You know, you often see Skarner do it as well, but obviously playing into Gragas and Lilia, he's opted for the Hollow Radiance for some magic resist instead. But yeah, it has influenced the meta a lot. I would definitely agree with you. Like the armor pen, generally speaking, was more valuable. But now the Giant Slayer's not a thing. Yeah, exactly. They swapped it around.
And you've got the Kraken Slayer that kind of helps deal with that. Obviously, I assume Bitsy, if we do go 6 items, isn't going to pick something up like a Blade of the Ruined King, which also would help with that. Cause,
Bitsy?
I mean, no, sorry, Namex.
Because, yeah, I wouldn't...
Bitsy.
I would agree with you,
Bitsy's
Jake.
got their own thing going on when it comes to health burn. They got the Leandries.
Yeah, he's fine.
But yeah, I feel like
good.
Namex is going to prioritize getting the Infinity Edge and getting as much crit as possible. So I don't expect to see a Bork come in from Namex. So yeah, it is really just going to be down to the Kraken Slayer and the armor pen to be able to cut through these tanks. And like you were saying a moment ago, it's not really Namex's job to deal with the tank, to deal with the backline. They're more a tank buster in this comp. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they kind of handle these fights and manage how everything is going. As it looks like there's a potential play coming in on to the Corki, but the reset came in from Snarby, able to get away. Skate Rot smelt that coming and was able to get out in time thanks to some of the vision that had been placed down. That little ward on the edge of the Baron pit is really nice because in the eyes of natives, that Baron isn't warded because that ward is just on the edge of the vision of that control ward. And actually, to be honest, with the side of DMG, it might actually be in their interest just to leave that control ward until they want to do a Baron, because it's giving that false sense of security over to the side of natives.
You're not wrong, to be honest, Jake. Like, it definitely, as you mentioned, natives at this point will assume that Nash is swept. So they're not going to go into the area or really, like, re-sweep it, right? They're not going to walk into the Baron pit and put their sweeper up because it's already pinged. And in that situation, they won't find that sneaky little ward that's chilling on the side.
There's 2 of them.
Yeah, there's this one here as well. I think natives know about that one. You would think so, at least, because it was kind of put down in front of their faces, but not 100% sure. Maybe when those sweepers come up, we'll find out. Either way, both these teams here just chilling out, farming up. Still waiting for that upgraded mana immune for Skate Rot as well, which is a pretty big spike, to be honest. So
Yeah.
wouldn't be too surprised if DMG are kind of chilling a little bit until that point. But this feels like, it almost feels like Season 2, a Season 2 game, you know?
This is a very, very kind of slow tempo, let the ADCs hit their power spikes kind of game. And what this probably means is this next dragon, because it's 2 dragons a piece, probably going to be pretty brutal. 3 items on the Jinx, 2 and a bit onto Golden Penny, 2 and a bit onto Painful. I really expect this to just be an absolute all-out brawl. Everything getting thrown down, summoner spells galore. Namex does have the cleanse and the flash, so it's going to be a little bit harder for natives to actually find that open window onto them without good vision and a good flank. Dragon spawning up in a minute's time. I'm not going to be surprised if we get some action breakout immediately.
Yeah, at the same time, it could be the complete opposite, where both teams are like, it's fine, it's only the 3rd dragon, we don't need to contest this one. Let's keep scaling, let's keep reaching our spikes. In which case, they would just completely ignore it. But yeah, you would imagine, DMG, generally speaking, have more control of the bot side of this map, because natives have put more emphasis on controlling the top side. But again, a TB coming through, yeah, we're contesting this, we are fighting this one, exactly as you said, Jake. This is not going to be a dragon that goes quietly into the night. We are going to be smattering ourselves around this rift. Contest it, and here we go.
Gherkin to jump in. Snarby gets the Magnet Storm off immediately. They do get the damage down onto Bitsy. They lock him in place. Namex has to flash away. The cleanse comes down. He was too slow to the play. They're not got the damage, but Skate Rod's still here. He's putting the damage onto Fearloris, but Fearloris is just eating that damage. The flash comes forward. Golden Penny misses the Essence Flux, and Skate Rod secures the kill. Down goes Hybrash to the burn of Bitsy. And it's a pretty close trade, but ultimately, DMG are the ones on top. They should be able to take the dragon off it.
We waited 28 minutes for our first team fight of the game, and it was a pretty spicy one, if we can continue the theme of the day here. I was honestly convinced that was going to be DMG's loss, taking a big L there when Namex was brought low, but they managed to salvage something out of it. They're so tanky and Skate Rod there as well. This right here, though, this Nash play is so cheeky. I don't think natives know this one's going down, or at least maybe they just decide, you know what, screw it, we're not going for it. There's the Jinx rocket, almost stole the dragon. Yeah, and good for DMG right here. Able to finally, one of these teams pull away from the other, all on the back of that team fight. Difficult team fight to execute if you are DMG, if you are Jinx specifically, just because you've got a lot of people trying to jump on top of you. You misstep for 1 second and you're dead, which is exactly what happened. But fortunately, you got some other carries on your team that can make things happen instead, which is
the Muramana, man. It's finished. The damage is there on Skate Rot. He is level 17 as well. Like, he is big right now. Hurricane, Triforce, Muramana. I'm assuming this is going to be an Infinity Edge next for him.
Most likely.
And Namex also getting close towards that Infinity Edge. Did find himself very caught. I think they were a little reluctant to throw the cleanse down until bigger CC had been connected, and they lost a lot of health to that naturally. Is Namex now getting jumped onto. Painful's just going to easily tidy him up. That tower's not going to be able to survive. A double kill for Painful. Skate Rod's able to clear the wall to safety. Namex kind of being a bit of a sore spot here for DMG in this game, getting caught repeatedly.
He's so vulnerable as well. He's a Jinx. He should know these things.
Cleanse.
Yes, exactly. Summoner's Jinx. He's got to respect the fact that there's a lot of engage and a lot of crowd control for natives. Really, really easy for them to just pull the trigger, flick the switch, and jump on top of him.
Oh.
If the rest of his team's around, maybe they can trade back, but obviously that wasn't the case there. So, yeah, just disrespectful. Disrespectful. I'm not sure natives are going to get too much out of it, though. At least... maybe just an inner turret, which isn't too bad, I suppose. Death times, I guess, are significant enough to make use out of that. This bot tower has been taken down.
This is remember, it's DMG who have the Baron, but they are unable to take anything because Fearloris he's clearing through the waves too easily. Bucci can't really do anything about it. Has to throw the cast to get away from Fearloris. With Namex and Snarby going down bot side, they lost their own bot lane tier too. So, I mean, the Baron power play is 400 gold for DMG right now. It's about to time out. They ultimately gained nothing from that. Natives, it worked in their favor because they are now on Ocean's Soul Point. And they they basically negated the entire Baron power play.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's not just that DMG weren't able to get too much from the Nash, but they traded it for Dragon, and yeah, that is sole point now for Natives. Golden Penny as well, hitting 3 items, closing in on his 4th with the armor pen. The things with Ez builds nowadays too is like they're so tanky, right? They generally go Triforce and Shojin, both of which give almost a combined almost like 700, 750 health. So yeah, he's gonna be hard to take down. There's difficult targets here for DMG. Skate Rock, I really do think it's kind of on him in these team fights, just like we saw before.
I mean, Namex is about to get Flashing Cleanse, so for the next Dragon, providing they're not getting caught here, we'll have that. And I'd like to see them a little bit more early to escape damage. With DMG taking that tower on the bot side, they did finally end with an okay Baron power play. It was 1,400 gold up for them off the back of it. So overall, not the end of the world. Infinity Edge now finished up onto Namex. So 75% crit chance. A lot of damage is going to get pumped out of this Jinx. The next fight, Namex needs to show us that they can pop off on this because they've been getting repeatedly caught. Bucci, speaking of getting caught, gets the solar flare, gets everything thrown down onto them. But Namex is going to be able to free fire off for the moment. Highbrows losing a lot of HP. Golden Penny unable to really do much of anything there. And Bucci did have to burn the flash. But a lot was used.
Yeah, eventually just gets away from this. He's full tank Gragas as well, topside. We often see like Gragas go for more of either a hybrid build or sometimes even just a pure AP build.
Oh.
Not this time. Oh my goodness,
my
that
word!
damage. There it is.
Alright, well that's Dragon for Natives.
What is it? Yeah.
Yeah, the death time is too long. Snavi needs to be
He
very
has
careful
TP.
here.
Yeah, it could be. If Natives are able to proper rush, it could genuinely just be Soul. What a pick there for Painful in the bot side right there. That was crazy. I didn't think that Tristana would have the advantage over Corki at this point in the game. But my goodness, that is a huge pick. If nothing else, you get full control of the bot side of the jungle here, even if you can't quite rush Dragon. We'll see though.
There's 4 items on this Tristana. She had the Infinity Edge. Skate Rock still sitting on the BF sword, a little shy. Bucci able to dodge the Zenith Blade there. Dragon getting postured on. If they can keep this going for a little bit longer, they may be alright. They're going to get some damage down. The cast comes out. They do throw the Magnet Storm down as well. Namex remains untouched for the moment, but he's free firing out. He's going to lose his support, however. Gets a big rocket down. He's going to get excited soon. The Drowsy's coming in. Namex able to find one. The sleep comes forward. Bitsy's doing numbers. Double kill picked up for Namex. Theoloris has to jump over the wall, and Skate Rod comes in to save the day. DMG win the fight.
They're looking to win the game as well here, Jake. Just pushing down mid. They've got a small but sizable enough minion wave. 3 damage dealers alive as well. It's just Ball on the owner to save Native's game. Can he do it? I don't think you chase him off here, Namex. I think you want to keep pushing.
And Namex is going to be able to finish Ball up.
But I think that's it. I think that's it. Dead times are too long. DMG have won the game.
They've done it. There it is. The tower goes down. Nexus will be next to follow. Namex. I was very critical that game. A lot of bad positioning, but that last fight just played in that little blue alcove so well. Took absolutely no damage. Put a whole load out. Was able to tie it up, and TP from Skate Rock caught the side of Natives sleeping, and down they go. Taken out nice and easy.
Well, this is the thing with ADC, especially scaling ADCs like Jinx. You know, you play the whole game just farming and farming and farming, just for that 30 seconds of a team fight, 35 minutes into the game. You know, it's like it's a bit tedious gameplay, but that's all he needed. He needed that one big fight. Unfortunately for Natives, they had the advantage. It was a 5v4, and they tried to force the fight, knowing they had that numbers advantage. Didn't quite work out, and instead threw the fight, through the game.
There it is. It is going to be a DMG, another win under their belt as Natives suffer another loss. But we are going to throw ourselves to a quick break, and then we're back with our analyst desk to break that game down. See you in a moment.
Break it down, step on the gas, let's get out of town. We're gonna break out and have some fun. We're gonna do what you never done. Oh yeah. Come on, take your body with you. It's a money weekend.